Welcome back to the What Life, guys. We are going again for the Fine Sandy Zwift Racing Monthly first race of the month. Same route, 6 times up the same climb for 3 laps. So you basically do the same climb twice every lap. I'm going to save you the despair of having to watch the whole race. It was a 50-minute race. We are Cat C again. My Zwift crashed when I tried to do this yesterday, so I've given it another shot. A very different race this time. I want to say a little bit frustrating, but still a lot of fun. 40 odd people on the start pen, and it breaks it. We break it down pretty quickly. Not the most Swifty of Swifty starts, and this kind of gave me the idea that it might be a bit of a more casual race. A few guys go off the front, but nothing to worry about. Racing this yesterday, I definitely realized all you really have to worry about is the climb. So this video is basically just the climbs. I'm cutting out the second lap, obviously, to keep it a little bit shorter, and we kind of tuck the whole thing up nicely into 12 minutes or so. So stick around. Basically, the question I'm asking is: are longer races easier than shorter races? And 100%, I think I'm gonna have to say yes. Obviously, I'm only basing this on the fact that I've done this race. This is 30 odd K, 23 miles, 50 odd minutes of cycling. Was it easier than a 20-minute Smash Fest? 100%. So I am going to give a few of the Zwift monthly races, the longer ones, a go in Cat B. So we're cutting straight to the first climb, first lap. Just to give you an idea of the climb, we've got quite a big group up front. A couple of guys have broken away. Nothing to really worry about. I didn't worry about anyone really on the climbs. I think 1s and 2s up front with 18, 19 miles to go are never really going to kind of disappear off into the horizon. But anyway, still something to keep an eye on. So basically, this climb, it's quite short and sweet, about, 45 to 60 seconds. If you can just be nice and steady on the pedals, hold a nice average wattage, you kind of move forward. And I'll be honest with you, I actually think the climb on the first lap was the slowest. So you kind of average below 320 watts for this climb, and it kind of puts me at the front of the group. So I think the first lap was actually probably the most calm out of the lot, but it wasn't indicative of how the other laps were going to go. This climb actually ended up being a bit quicker, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth time round. But it is the thing that changes the dynamic of the race. And you see that on the mini-map, we are breaking the group up. So that big group that made it to the first climb is now being split. But it's being split into about a group of 16 people, which is still quite a lot of riders. Maybe even more, actually. 16 odd. So that's our first time up the climb. That's the climb itself. You can see that it wasn't anything too dramatic, and no one really rides off the front. We have a few instances where one rider does kind of try and do a little bit of a lead out. We are going to dive straight back in to the climb again for the end of the first lap. So the same climb, this time we're doing it in sunlight. I'll be honest with you, the middle of the lap each time the wattage just drops off, and this is why I think these longer races are a little bit easier than the shorter races, because there are recovery points. This is obviously Cat C, so you get to recover a lot more. Cat B would probably maintain a steadier, firmer pace during the middle section of the race, but undoubtedly it would still calm down a bit on the flat section because it's unlikely people are going to ride away from people. I found this race particularly frustrating because every time we did the climb, we split the group. No one was really willing to work up front for us to make the splits stick. And that's not just me complaining, saying no one's doing the work, and then trying to sit at the back. I was up there, trying to dog out some good watts to try and make some of these splits stick. I just didn't feel like the group was really kind of working together to make it happen. So every time we split the group on laps 2 and 3, people were cycling back onto the group, and it was just frustrating. So we break it down to about 8, and then 2 or 3 people would work back on just after the descent when it would calm down a bit, and it was just like, it was killing me because obviously I'm messaging the group because I'm big on diving into the chat and just saying, guys, we've got to make these splits stick if we want to ride and break the group down a bit. But these races are all very different. I think that's a good indication of a longer race. If it had been a shorter race, you'd probably find that those brakes would have stuck. So we've skipped out at least one climb a lot in the middle of the race now, and we're doing climb 4 of the same climb. You'll see that the group is breaking down a little bit, and then but you'll also notice that once again, very, very happy with like my own heart rate. It just builds up. I'm hoping you guys can tell that, a lot of these climbs I'm at the front, there or thereabouts. So, I felt pretty comfortable, felt pretty good. I had a few days off of cycling, so body's feeling quite good. I did do this race yesterday. I got 43 minutes into it, so it did hurt a little bit. Everyone dropping their feathers as we go up this climb, and I'm still kind of maintaining a pretty good pace. I leave my feather to a little bit later, just trying to ride with this little group just in case there was a split. And I'm pretty sure that there is a split, but once again, we don't make it stick. And I think that's like quite indicative of these slightly longer races, because I just think there's more redemption to it. If you fall off the back, there is a chance of getting back on, because people don't hold the pace through the middle as much, or it felt like that, certainly with this race. So this probably is not a necessarily, the example that, it could be the exception that proves the rule. But it definitely felt like, if you look on the mini-map, we're splitting the group, but then the group are always cycling back up together. And like I said, I'm not just sitting here complaining about it and doing nothing. I do feel like I was working at the front to try and make some of these splits stick, but you kind of got to work as a team. Otherwise, I felt like I was doing quite a lot of it, hands in the air, and that would just like absolutely balls me for the for the final lap or the final sprint. So this is a good example. So we ride off the front. You'll see the split on the mini map, top right. Look, there's a couple of people dropped off. It's probably about 6 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us, right? 7 of us, maybe 8. So there's 8 of us in this group, right? And we are just like not putting the wattage down. And I kind of then just want to like push it on a little bit, but and the group behind are just catching. Keep an eye on the little mini map. We just basically don't ride away from them, which is dumb. We could have done it. I realize we're not riding hard enough. I was kind of in and out the chat, and then I kind of decide, well, look, if we're not gonna get away from them, then we might as well just come off the watts and just use it as a bit of a chance to recover. So people ride on, and that was a bit frustrating. That was the frustrating thing about this race, but also, yes, indicative of these slightly longer races. The intensity flows a bit more. It's slightly less punchy and less sharp, so you do get like almost like a little second bite of the apple. So we're going to cut to the climb. Yeah, perfect. We're cutting to the last lap now, middle of the last lap. And I thought this was really cool because one of the guys in the group, I think, just got completely fed up. We're on the last lap. We have 3 miles to go, so 5k left in the race. And I think he just gets bored, fed up. Like, he just decides to attack, but attack quite hard. And I think that comes in a second. And he just, like, absolutely melts off into the distance, which I thought, excuse me, he has already melted off into the distance. So you look on the mini-map, there is a guy ahead on the mini-map who has just disappeared, and this is basically the chase down of the group. A few guys kind of try and make these little solo efforts, so we all, I decide to ride with them. It's interesting, guys. Like, Zwift racing, the whole is, or the sum of the parts is worth more than the whole. So you've really got to kind of work together on some of these things. And he's still ahead of us on this climb, and we drag him back in. This is the last climb in the race, guys. So we are doing this for the 6th time. I try and basically my plan for these climbs is always hold anything from 320 to 350 watts up it, and that seems to move me forward. This guy who we're just passing now is unfortunately being lapped, but the guy that we are chasing down, I think, might be at the top. Or yes, I'm pretty sure he's at the top, and then we have to kind of chase him down. But it was interesting. So I put in a good effort on this climb. Oh, actually, sorry, my bad. Once again, the guy at the top is actually about to be lapped. So the group that we have behind us now is just our group. That we've brought everyone back together for the last climb. So the person we're passing now on the mini map is again being lapped. So this is our group. I'm sat at the front of it. We're holding good wattage up the hill, and 171 on the HR is me. That's me working. Anything over 170, 171, between 171 and 176 is death zone for me, or certainly 175 to 180 is absolute death zone for me. It'll be interesting to see what happens on the sprint. But I lead the group up the climb, and I'm pretty happy with it. You can see there's a bit of a split. I do want to ride off the top, but you can only really, you need a half decent sized group to ride off the top. Once again, we whittle the group down, and I think there's 6 or 7 of us, but it was just a bit frustrating because obviously you need to recover because of the sprint coming up for the finish. So we have a 7-person group now. I'm pretty sure some people might even end up riding back up onto us. So trying to lead the group, and the wattage just isn't there. We're not really working hard enough. You can see on the mini map that the group comes back together, and I don't know how many times it's happened, but incredibly frustrating. Especially it just means there's going to be more people in a sprint, even though they've had to work a bit harder to get there. So the decision was to just try relax and recover, get the heart rate a bit lower before we come into that sprint section. But well done to the guys that rode back on. Well done to anyone that just rode back onto the group on this race, because there was a lot of kind of little splits and attacks and people coming back on. I thought that was some brave and strong riding from everyone. So we are nearing the finish point. You're going to watch me balls up my sprint as usual. I do need to index my gears. I can't actually get into my lowest gear or my hardest gear, or a hardest couple of gears, because I need to need to go on, basically service my bike. Anyway, we're coming in and we're pretty close to the finish, in a reasonably good position. Decide to ride it from the front. I just kind of miss. I got to be a bit firmer. See, these guys all go. I kind of missed that. I should have gone when I had the chance. I'm just not like as confident with these finishes as I should be. I think if I'd gone a bit earlier, I love watching my heart rate go up. Gone 173, hit 174. Yes. I'm pretty happy with it, guys. I think it was about 5th place, and that's about it for today. A little bit of redemption from yesterday.